Hey everybody, I am Scotty J. You are watching Rock Titan Music Television. Got a great guest with us today. We actually tried to catch up with him in person, not too long ago, but I ran into some difficulties of my own. But we got here with us today the lead singer of the Dead Girls Academy, Michael Orlando, and he's currently on tour with John 5 in support of their brand new album that just came out not too long ago, Alchemy. Michael. Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. So I was supposed to catch up with you a couple weeks ago when you guys were at Sellersville on tour with John 5. So why don't you just enlighten me on what I missed?
You didn't miss much on that one. That one was a weird little spot.
You know what? It is a cool thing. It's an old movie theater. So obviously the capacity is not as large as probably what you're used to or what you're looking for, but it's quaint, it's got a really cool feel. And the thing that was really neat about that, actually, Michael, was a year ago I caught up with John 5, and we had a chance to talk about the It's Alive tour, because that's actually where he did his It's Alive album. So he was back there, and yeah. So speaking of John 5, is this the first time that you've ever actually had an opportunity to work with him?
This is the first time I actually met him or worked with him, toured with him, all that. I mean, I just saw him on tour with Zombie and Manson in Las Vegas, actually, and it was kind of cool to actually see him like 3 months ago and then actually join a tour with him. So kind of surreal.
Now, how did this opportunity come about? Like, how do things like this work? I'm just curious, because obviously, again, everybody, we are here with Michael Orlando, the front man of the Dead Girls Academy. How does something like this happen? Like, does management come to you? Does some kind of publicist come to you saying, "Hey, Michael, feel like hitting the road with John 5?"
I wish it was that easy. I mean, it's
Okay.
more or less at that point in time when you submit for a bunch of tours and you see what you can get at that point, and I really wanted the John 5 tour. I thought it'd be really, really cool. So I had pushed my manager and to try to see what they could do to get it, and we ended up getting it. John chose the band, and it's pretty cool, man. And we're getting good reviews by John on the road, so I think he's happy with his choice. Pretty cool.
Now, did the influence that you had, as with all the success you had with Vampires Everywhere, because everybody, Vampires Everywhere was a band that you had, a lot of commercial success with.
Yes.
Did that figure into the equation at all, do you think, with,
Yeah. I mean, there's always bits and pieces of the past that help you get tours. I mean, from social media numbers to the buzz going on with the band currently to radio. There's so much that goes into it, and I'm hoping all of that did combine to get us the tour. So yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
man, right on. So we got to talk about Alchemy. It hasn't been out too terribly long, and I know that you've been cranking out official music videos, which is near and dear to Rock Titan's heart, and that's something I really want to talk to you about, because I mean, the kind of music videos that you've been doing for Alchemy, they're pretty well. I mean, to say that they're professional, of course they're professional, but it looks like they're relatively high budget. So I'm just curious, are they actually high budget, and how does a band as new, as Dead Girls Academy, finance something like this?
Well, the first video, I'll Find a Way, was financed by me.
Okay.
That was pretty high budget. It had Scott Henson do it.
Okay.
Then he did. Scott Henson also did the Everything video and the No Way Out video. Those were a little lower budget compared to the I'll Find a Way.
Right.
That was the label, and then the label did the next two, I think, as well. At Victory. So it
Victory,
was
right?
Yeah. So I was into what Beyonce did, man. She did a video for every song on her album. I was like, that's super cool.
Nice.
So I pushed, as hard as I could to try to get as many videos out as possible for content. So
yeah. Now, so everybody knows Far Away is your most recent official music video that's out there. So everyone, if you have the opportunity, go check it out.
Yes.
Dead Girls Academy, Far Away, most recent official music video that's out there. Pretty cool and pretty deep. I mean, it's got this, pretty heavy message in it. I mean, it comes across as like basically someone who's passed away, that, you wish you had back in your life. At least, that's kind of what I gather for it, this longing for this person that you lost. Would that be accurate? Is that what you were trying to convey?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one of the metaphors of the video. Whether it be, I had a troubled relationship in the past with a girl that was addicted to, I drink alcohol, so I'm addicted to alcohol. I mean, it's a thing, but
Right.
for me, it's more of a thing than others. But it's she couldn't deal with being a normal human being and drinking alcohol, and she pushed me out of her life, and she had mental breakdowns and all that. So I kind of tied that in with, actually losing somebody. So I wanted a bit of both.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I think that's interesting about, people that one struggle, which is a shame. Addiction is bad, but when you're talking about our own mortality, because life is so fragile. Every day is really a gift. Whether you're young, whether you're old. I mean, people really take it for granted. And health is something that you really got to preserve, because you could be the healthiest person in the world and you still don't know what's going to happen. And where I'm going with it is this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you have a brace with death not all that long ago?
Yeah, I had a drunk driver hit me going the wrong way on an interstate in Florida. I ended up, dying on spot, and they revived me in the ambulance on the way to ICU.
Oh
But I
my
broke my
God.
entire face, yeah, my arm, and all sorts of fun stuff. So
Now, I don't want to necessarily relive all that with you right now, because I'm sure it was horrifying, and obviously you're doing very well today. Thank God.
thank you.
But did it make you look at things a lot differently, not just as a musician, not just as an artist, but just in general? Did that have an impact on you, one, as a human being? And again, I guess, two, would you say that that had an effect on who you are as a musician and the kind of things that you tap into on the creative side?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at that point, after the accident, I was like, I'm done with music. I'm done with everything like that. I wanted more of a stable existence, and that just dissipated within like a year. So you have some sort of post traumatic stress where you have some sort of epiphany of what life should be for yourself, and um, it just ended up changing everything for me at that moment. And then slowly you sit back into your dreams and what you want to achieve. And I think you take a little part of that experience with you. I live life every day like it is my last day. Um, I did become a severe hypochondriac from that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, OCD. I mean, I had it before, but it escalated. So that definitely came into my life. Did that help me write music better? Yeah, it definitely did. Being a bit insane is actually part of writing music. Yeah. If you're happy, you're not going to write good songs. I mean, if you do, I mean, you're very lucky. I haven't seen.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you're kind of tapping into a little bit of that darker side. You've got that goth rock kind of genre, completely infused into your music. Whether we're talking about Dead Girls Academy or Vampires Everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about Dead Girls Academy today, not Vampires Everywhere. But you had a really good run with that band. Would you say that all the experiences you had with that are something that you tried to bring with you to make Dead Girls Academy maybe a better version of that? Or when you started up this new band, is it something that you were really look to make something completely and total different, like blank canvas, forgetting everything in the past and just starting anew?
Initially, I wanted to come in with a clean slate.
Yeah.
But as you start writing music, as you start singing, as you start seeing who you are as a person during the process, you're like, well, I can't change who I am. And it's a very enlightening process to say to yourself, well, I can always start new. You kind of can't in the music industry, but once you make some sort of impact, people are like, it's that guy. And yeah, this is different, and it is melodic, and it does sound a completely different animal than vampires, but it's still me.
Sure.
And that's why I kept the pseudonym Michael Vampire in line. That's why I didn't want to veer away and become a happy band, because I'd just be lying to everybody. And when me and Ronnie were writing the record, I mean, we were talking, and I remember him straight saying to me, man, he was like, "There's no way you can write a happy record. There's no way you could be a pop band. It's just, and I'm just like, you're right. and you have to accept who you are. And, anything I write tends to have a dark undertone. Um, that's just who I am. So different animal, but same person.
Okay. All right. Right on. Now, that being said, like I kind of alluded to a little while ago, you did have some solid commercial success, with vampires. Has there been any pressure that you felt personally trying to make sure, that Dead Girls has that same kind of success, or are you just kind of taking everything in stride?
It's consistent pressure and stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stress never ends. Whether I'm having it or my manager is or the label is, everybody is trying to make this succeed as quickly as humanly possible in an environment, of rap and hip hop. We're battling the elements right now. I see a slow change happening in rock. I do see it. I see it in commercials like movies, and they're putting out the dirt. They had Bohemian Rhapsody. They're gonna, all sorts of rock elements are starting to sip back into commercial media. But the stress is real. I know what it's like to be a buzz band. I know what it's like to be, working for 7 years to be at the pinnacle of something. So when I look at this and we're not quite there yet, or we're grinding, playing a Europe tour where there's no press, there's no this, we're just doing it because we are trying to connect. It's a very stressful but meaningful situation.
Now, would you say that with that, is that part of the reason why you've been so aggressive with making as many official music videos for Alchemy, already? And again, everybody, make sure you go check out Alchemy, by Dead Girls Academy, if you haven't done so already. Here we are with Michael Orlando. Your vocals are incredible, and the videos are just really cool. I mean, they're so theatrical in nature. It's like we said. It's definitely not low budget, even though you may have had a couple that were low budget. They're very well produced, very well directed, and to me, they're like a short film. To me, a good, successful official music video, it needs to be one of two things. It needs to be a killer, live type of thing, where the band's playing live and you got a collage of all that excitement and everything, or it's got to be a really killer short film, which is what basically everything I've seen so far off of Alchemy, has definitely been. So would you say that you've done a lot more of those official music videos as a marketing effort to, try to promote Alchemy, and then as well as, hitting the tour trail right now with John 5. But I know that, as the summer comes up, we've got a lot of these different big tours, Rock on the Range and stuff like that. You're going to be doing all that?
Well, we're doing Welcome to Rockville and Epicenter Fest. We're really stoked to be on that. That's our first time actually doing any kind of Wimmer Fest, and all of his festivals are absolutely amazing.
Right? Yeah.
So honored to be a part of that.
Awesome.
Are we going to route out to them? I don't know. We're going to fly out to them? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. You're already considering Europe for fall. That's what's on the board right now. As far as almost starting to write a new record. This Alchemy came out in July, so trying to keep the content flowing, man. And okay. As far as keeping people entertained, I'm trying to put out as much content as humanly possible.
Right on. Right on.
People have no attention spans. Once you put out a video, it's forgotten a day later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. But so, like you just touched on, though, Alchemy, it hasn't even been out a full year yet, and already you guys are on to new material?
You gotta keep the writing going. And especially when you want to have another album cycle coming out sooner or later, because you don't want to be sitting on something too long. That was our freshman album, you know what I mean? The sophomore album defines who you are, defines your career. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that one as well. So.
All right. Very, very cool. So you guys are getting ready to head over there into Canada, huh? Or are you already in Canada?
Yeah, we're on the border right now between, I think, we're almost to Quebec. we're 5 hours to Quebec right now.
All right. And we were talking a little bit ago. You're doing your own laundry. What's up with that, man? You don't have someone doing your laundry for you?
I don't know, man. I'm a weird, going back to the accent and all that kind of stuff, being in the hospital for like 6 months. I'm like, when you're talking about chemical reactions with other people or shit like that, I start getting weirded. So I like touching my own stuff, putting it in there, doing it. It's the OCD in me too. I got to fold it properly. It's weird.
Okay, well, hey, it's all good. It's all good, man. That's cool. But final thoughts. As we're talking about you guys, continuing along this tour in support of Alchemy, even though you've got new material in the pipeline, how do you feel about your freshman album? How's Alchemy done? Are you pleased with the way it's been received by everyone for the most part? And is there anything that you've gotten feedback-wise? Has that resulted in anything you think you want to do different with your sophomore album?
Yeah, I mean, all of that. I mean, this album changed my life. I mean, it brought me back into rock and roll. It brought me back into a touring schedule. I mean, I'm very grateful for Ronnie helping in writing the record. I'm very grateful to the new melodic sound, something musically that I have never done, and it's very amazing to transform like that and have a second, third, fourth chance for me, like going back into the circuit, and it's been life changing for me.
Very cool.
And yeah, there's a lot of things as far as feedback. I mean, we've been getting nothing but positive feedback.
Awesome.
Which for me, if you know from Vampires Everywhere, was not the case. We were a little ahead of our time. They didn't want a new Marilyn Manson. They didn't want a new Nine Inch Nails at that time. I was just the emo guy with all the makeup, trying to be someone else, and that was a hard sell. I mean, Chris from Motions, he stuck it out, and he did a great job, and he got through it. And I think he just had a lot more luck than me on that department. He just kept his band a lot harder, where I was trying to go back into the early 90s with my band.
Right.
And people were not accepting at that time. But I definitely think on this sophomore record, we're going to have a little bit more hard elements. We'll have a lot more riffage, if you will. I'm obsessed with the Deftones. I want to have some of that influence rub off.
Okay.
Before Ronnie wrote the whole record, now I'm going to be writing it and have a couple writers here and there coming in, and we'll see where that goes. But I am excited about it, yeah.
Do we have a timeline that we're already thinking about when we want to have a finished product?
Not quite yet. I mean, we're writing like 5 or 6 songs right now. I mean, we might finish up about 12 and then see what they sound like.
Okay.
And then see who else wants to write stuff with us. We'll see how it goes.
All right, and this is all going to be with Victory?
At this point, yes, it is.
Okay.
They've been nothing but amazing to me, and I hope the relationship continues, and I hope we can continue to grow.
Awesome. Well, everybody, again, we are here with Michael Orlando, the frontman of Dead Girls Academy. Right now they are on tour with John 5 in support of their freshman album, Alchemy. Make sure you go check it out. And if you have not seen any of their official music videos, just go Google them, YouTube them. But, far away, very cool, very deep. And much success, man. I really appreciate your time.
I really appreciate you taking the time, man. And I'll see you on the other side, man.
Yes, you will. All right. Thanks, Michael.